Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Heather with the Inspired Entrepreneur podcast. How are you guys doing? Happy Tuesday to you. Okay, let's jump into this. If you're new here, like I say every day, welcome. And if you've been listening every day, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate the comments and the feedback that I get. So this is a daily podcast based off, it comes directly from my book that I've recently released on Amazon called The Inspired Entrepreneur. It's 366 days of inspiration for the entrepreneur, for the business owner like you. It's hits of inspiration, hits from the law of attraction to help you stay focused. And gosh, so many of my clients are reading my book, and they keep telling me they love it. And it's really cool. It's just cool to get that feedback. So yeah, let's get going. So today is December 22nd. This is a long one, so let me read through it. To change your life, you must change the way you look at yourself. Create the identity of who it is you are and start seeing yourself as that person. You have to stop saying the negative things about yourself. I'm not good at fill in the blank. You have to stop saying that. You have to stop saying I'm not good at whatever it is. Okay, we'll get into it. Focus on the things you're good at and the things you are now becoming good at. Probably terrible English there. Your words or beliefs about yourself are vital. You gotta change the way you look at yourself. I bet somebody would come in and edit the crap out of that one. I had written this a while back. So, okay. This is really important. Okay, so I've been talking about the Soul Aligned business. I just closed down my academy, and I'm turning it into a book for easier implementation, easier access, really. It's just easy access. Okay, I'm looking at I have stages in my Soul Aligned business program. I have stages. And this, today, December 22nd, this comes from stage 2. Step 2, whatever version, whatever. You don't know what the stages are because I haven't put them out there. But stage 2 is create your new identity. And I became really, really inspired by about this concept of creating a new identity, primarily from really famous people. And I'll give you an example of the one I like to use the most is Freddie Mercury from Queen. So if you know me at all, or you know anything, I've talked about it. I've talked about it mostly to my clients, but I didn't know who Freddie Mercury was. I had heard of his name here and there very briefly, and I never liked Queen. Okay, so I'm 45 years old. I grew up on rap and hip hop, if you can believe that. But I'm a Generation X kid. You know, born in 1975. I really love hip hop. I really love hip hop and rap. But I also really love a lot of other music. So, but Queen's, first album came out in 1975. So, I mean, you can imagine that's not my generation. So anyway, I always thought it was kind of weird. I didn't know all the music that they had done. I didn't know how insanely massive they were until about when the movie came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, a couple years ago. Literally changed my life. That movie I've seen a dozen times. I'm not kidding. I have it on my computer. I went in the theater I think 3 times. I would have done it more had I caught it more in the theater. But I've been obsessed about this movie and about him. I love Freddie. So anyway, just knowing his story about changing his name and, whether the story is accurate in the movie, I have no idea. I would assume that it is to, you know, I mean, I don't like to assume anything is accurate when the person is no longer with us. But I mean, he is with us, and that's why the movie was so successful. So, anyway, besides that, the story that I, you know, learned from the movie is that if you see the movie, I highly recommend this movie. I have a few movies that I recommend everybody watch who loves the law of attraction, and this is one of them, because if you look at the way that Freddie in the movie, the character, spoke, and it just spoke, the way he spoke about who he was and where he wanted to be. He spoke how he wanted to be. Like so he created his image of Freddie Mercury, and created his name, created like a new person. He became the person he wanted to be. He became that person. So he decided who he wanted to be and became that person. And that's basically at the essence of create your new identity. Like, who is that person, that successful person? Who is that? It could be a new name. It could be like, you know, like I changed my name to Heather Hope, you know, in this world. It's not legally my name, but that's been my name outwardly for several years now. So I created that because I didn't really like my other name, my maiden name, my birth name, but it was just kind of a new start, a fresh thing. It was just one thing, but a lot of actors do that. A lot of singers do that. They change their name. They create this new identity of themselves, of who they see themselves as being. Does that make sense? And I'm not here to tell you that you need to change your name. You don't. But you can. If you resonate strongly with a name that you see yourself as, I mean, you don't have to legally change it, but you can change it on social media. You could tell people that's who you are now. You know what I mean? So, not a big deal. Like, as a female who has been married now a couple of times, once you change your name, like, legally, and then you realize that wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, a lot of stupid stuff like that. But it's like, as soon as I got married the first time, and then I got divorced and changed my name back, and then, you know, it's like once you do that, then you realize, you know what, I can go by anything and nobody freaking cares. Nobody cares what my name is. So once I realized that, I realized I can change my name to anything that I resonate with. So I changed it to Heather Hope. And in the future, what I would like to do is change my middle name to Hope. So it is legally Heather Hope. Right now I'm in the middle of a name change legally, to change my name to my husband's name. It took a while. I didn't want to do it for a long time. I didn't see the need to do it at all because I go by Heather Hope. I didn't care. Like, I don't care so much. But I really wanted a short last name, like a legal short last name, and his is really short. So it's something I always wanted. My name is really long. My maiden name is really long, and I don't like signing it. I don't like... Anyway, that's besides the point. So I've changed it. I'm just waiting on everything to go through to change it everywhere. So anyway, but I'd like to change, because you can't just change your middle name. You have to go to court to change. If you want to change any other part, you can change your last name if you get married. But that's the only way, and it's easy. It's like super simple. But to change it outside of marriage, or to change your first or middle name, you have to go to court and file, and it's like $300 and something and all this stuff. Right now, it's like, that's the last of my concerns. So anyway, long story short, deciding on who you are, like, who is this successful business person? It's going to be a whole entire chapter of this book, because it's an entire step of the soul line business, like becoming who you are. To change your life, you must change the way you look at yourself. So if you look at yourself as a failure, you're going to be a failure. You know what I mean? You're going to not succeed, basically. I don't like the word failure, but, create the identity of who it is you are and start seeing yourself as that person. Freddie Mercury in the movie before he was famous, he saw himself as famous. He dressed like he was famous. He did all the things. Like he became that person before he was that person. Does that make sense? Like he became that way before. So I have a client, I have a former client. She I call her my rock star. And she's a singer. She came to me. We went and saw Abraham in San Diego together. Was San Diego? Yeah. Like a year and a half ago. And so I got to spend a bunch of time with her. She's pretty amazing. And she's a singer, songwriter. And she said that her father, I think it was her father's friend, who used to be one of the roommates of Freddie Mercury or somewhere in that vicinity. You know what I mean? That he was around Freddie. Now she's English, so this would make sense. This is all in England back a long time ago. So, but she said that he said that, yes, the way that they portrayed Freddie in the movie is how he really was. Like he would walk into a room and he was like that, if you know what I'm talking about. Like he had an air of himself, like like he was a rock star. Like that was the way he projected himself way before he became a legitimate rock star. Like he was that person before he was the person. So go see the movie. Or no, you can't go see it. It's not in the theaters. But get the movie. I'm telling you, it's so worth it. The other movie that I highly recommend, it seems more spiritual, is Rocket Man. Personally, I love biographies. I love autobiographies. I love anything that dives into the life of a very successful person. I'm obsessed with that stuff because I love seeing what they did, what they do to portray, to become that person that they are. Because this isn't by accident. Like none of these people became successful by accident. Of course, it was a desire first and foremost, but they became that person. So becoming the identity of the person that you want to be is such a key. It's such a key that it is one of the main stages of the soul line business, becoming that person of who you want to be. So you have to stop saying the negative things about yourself. So anytime you find yourself saying, I'm not good at this, you have to stop that. You have to catch yourself and be like, oh, okay, never mind. I'd like to become better at this. Like soften it up, turn it into a positive. I would like to be better at this. So I'm taking a bunch of courses, doing some stuff that requires exams. And so anytime I'm around people who are taking exams, something pops up of people saying this particular statement. They say, oh, I'm a terrible test taker. And so they have to retake the exam several times or something. But people say that. I'm a terrible test taker. Guess what you become? You're a terrible test taker. So a bunch of years ago, somebody told me this. He was kind of a really intelligent person. He was kind of weird, but it's from a former life of mine. But from the things that he heard that I was doing back then, I had already been a realtor. I had already taken the real estate exam. I was a licensed therapist. All these things that licenses and certifications and everything comes with exams, right? So all the things I've done, this was probably 10 years ago that I spoke to this guy. He was in-law of my previous marriage. But he told me one night, he's like, you're a really good test taker, aren't you? And I hadn't thought about it because I was a really terrible student in high school or before then. So it's kind of like that. I was becoming better at things because I was believing in myself more. And so when he said that, it stuck in my head. He said, you're a really good test taker. Because in order to have all these licenses and certifications, you have to pass tests. And some people don't do well on tests or exams, so they sometimes don't achieve what they want to achieve. And I had never considered that, but it stuck in my head all this time of like, I'm a good test taker. I'm a good test taker. That's right. I am. I'm pretty good at passing. I'm pretty good at passing. There's one area that I'd like to work more on, just reading. I'd like to read the question thoroughly. That's something I'm working on, is reading the test question thoroughly and accurately, if you get what I'm saying. So anyhow, it was such a thing that I had not considered before. And so now I see people that are like, oh, I'm terrible at this, and they fail their tests. And it's like, do you see what you're doing? You're speaking and then it happens, right? Okay, let's jump. I'm going to let you go in just a minute. Focus on the things you are good at and the things you are now becoming good at, right? So if you have this belief that you're a terrible test taker because of experience, right? Because it keeps happening that way, say to yourself, you know what? I'd love to get better at this. I want to get better at this. I want to be a better test taker. I want to be better. And I guarantee you, if you do stuff like that, excuse my nose, you will become more focused when you take your tests. You will. I want to sneeze. Watch me. I want to sneeze. Watch. But anything that you say that you'd like to be better at, you will have a better focus when that thing comes up. You're pre-paving this. You're saying this, to become true. So you have to focus on, what would you like to be better? If there's an area that you haven't excelled in and it's kind of important for who you're becoming, work on that. Just say, I'd like to be better at that. I would love to learn how to be better at that. And I guarantee you will attract the thing that you need to know. You'll attract it. Allow it in, right? So your words and beliefs about yourself are vital. You got to change the way you look at yourself. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. Oh, please excuse me. It's in the morning. I don't know. I went outside for a little while and I'll feel better. I'm totally fine. I'm just feeling like I'm going to sneeze. Okay. Have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. If you haven't already picked up this the Inspired Entrepreneur book, please pick that up. It's just an amazing book. I'm happy about it. And then the other thing is the 30 days to manifest your success journal. I just love it. These are the 3 things that I do almost on a daily basis. When I do them consistently every day, I'm just saying, when I actually do the work, I manifest like absolute crazy. I do. So I don't always, but I don't always be consistent. And that's something that I'm always striving for more consistency in doing this stuff and reminding myself. And that's what the journal is for, to remind myself, to remind you, to do these 3 things. They're very simple. It will take like a half an hour a day. And there you go. Okay, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.